Mike, Penn State's had an interesting week. As we're taping this, they're playing Youngstown State. But
that might be the least interesting thing about this week. You're right.
Exactly. Yeah. Two big announcements come down at the same day. Big Ten alignment now for two divisions. Also, we're going to do a segment with Robert Bolden, the new quarterback that's out there. You'll see that later on. Big Ten, I'm really bummed. No more land grant trophy.
That's a beautiful thing. Well, they'll break that up and sell it off for parts.
Yeah. They used to play Michigan State. Penn State gets aligned with Ohio State still. Talk about the alignment. What do you think? Were you surprised at how these two divisions came together?
Not too surprised. Interesting, though. When the Penn State people were here to talk about the Big Ten Network a couple weeks ago, they were talking to us about what do you think the alignment should be? And my idea was do it geographically along the Indiana-Illinois border, which would have Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, Penn State, Indiana, Purdue in one division. And the guy from the Big Ten Network said, well, that's not going to happen, which I knew. I wasn't predicting that. I was just saying that's my choice.
Right.
It's not going to happen because, and here's the reason why it's not going to happen. Now that Nebraska is in, you were always going to have there are four monster programs in terms of the size of the stadiums, the revenue, and all that stuff. Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, and Nebraska. You're not going to have three of those in one division and only one in the other. That wasn't going to happen. So that's why it turned out the way it did. And I really have no problem with it. What's interesting about it is Nebraska and Penn State are going to play every year, even though they're in different divisions, which is pretty cool. I think that could end up being a rivalry. No more land grant trophy because they're not going to play Michigan State every year. And there's a possibility that Ohio State and Michigan could play in opposite divisions, so they could play twice every year. In fact, it would probably be on back-to-back weeks or back-to-back games at least because they always play at the end of the regular season. This is assuming that Michigan State gets back to the point where they could be a division-winning team. I mean, Michigan does, which they certainly are not now.
Eventually. One thing I think with the Penn State-Nebraska, I hate Nebraska ever since 1994 when Penn State got jobbed of the national title because Coach Osborne didn't have one yet. The following year he deserved it and got one. But you know what? I like to have seen at least those two teams go at it. So if this could be any way to sort of get back at that, I love it. So.
Yeah, it's good. Hate in this case is a good thing.
Yes.